Hello everyone, Hyper here, and in today's video I will talk about some bugs which were introduced with patch 7.3.5. If you didn't raid yesterday, you might not have noticed these, and even if you did, some are pretty easy to miss. But in case you were wondering why some classes were doing insane damage while others were maybe not living up to their potential, here's why. So the first bug was with the assassination rogues. This was perhaps the most game-breaking bug. Their poison knife damage would ramp throughout the fight, instead of just doing static damage, meaning that the longer a fight went on, the more damage you were doing. Now you can see the footage in the background here where all of our rogues are doing insane DPS. My rogue is vastly undergeared and not optimized, and still doing about the same damage as my 970 Death Knight. This bug could potentially be abused to gain competitive advantage for killing Mythic Argus, for example. However, the bug was caught and the trait causing it was disabled before any of the guilds could kill the boss. Our second major bug here affected Holy Paladins and Demo Locks. Now this bug doubled the intellect they gained from their artifact weapons, so instead of gaining about 30k intellect, they gained 60k. And of course this would increase their performance vastly and make all of their spells and abilities do more damage or healing. And the third bug here was for Resto Shamans, and this was a detrimental bug rather than a beneficial one, where their mastery didn't affect their totems. So if you notice that your healing output was about 10% lower, it was probably because your totems were doing way less healing than they were supposed to. LFR Agromar was also introduced yesterday, and as far as I understand, I don't have footage of this, but when you zoned into the boss, you got one chance to kill him, and if you missed that chance and you wiped, then you better leave the raid and re-queue, because there was no way of getting back to the boss. Affliction Warlocks also noticed a bug with something they call soul shard sniping. Now what this does is essentially gaining extra soul shards off of multiple targets, just to increase your single target damage output. This bug caused Affliction Warlocks to not be able to gain those soul shards and only get them from one target, reducing their damage quite a bit. The bug you might have noticed if you raided yesterday, especially if you raided in a larger raid size, it seemed like if you had 30 people in a raid, it affected everyone way more than if you had maybe 10. But this was the performance problem. Our raid did Antorus on Heroic and we kind of got by, then went back to Mythic, and everything seemed okay as long as we disabled a few add-ons, but then we got to the later bosses, such as Agromar and Coven, and the bosses were simply undoable, because at some points during the fight, the entire raid would drop to single-digit FPS, so below 10, and at that low FPS, you have a very hard time reacting to mechanics, so we just had people getting hit by everything that they normally could avoid, and had to call the raid night. This bug has been addressed by Blizzard and they said they're working on a fix, but as far as I know, there's no fix implemented in the game yet, so if you raid tonight and notice heavy performance losses, then try maybe disabling add-ons, but most likely this will be on Blizzard's end and not yours. These were most of the major bugs that I noticed. If you have any other ones to add to the list, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, that was my post-patch madness rundown, and I'll see you on the next one.